Aloha, I'm Rob, and welcome to our Meettheworld video series. Me and the Hostelworld crew will be chatting to eager explorers from around the world, sharing their stories and words of wanderlust. Get comfy, grab yourself a cocktail, and enjoy travel tales of adventure and discovery from our community of beautiful backpackers. In this month's episode, we dive into the world of Jubilee producer and solo traveller Kendra Okereke from Los Angeles, California, to talk about her resilience to racism and wanderlust memories.
My name is Kendra Okereke. I am a 29-year-old female solo traveler. I have been to 16 countries and taken 10 solo travel trips.
What does travel mean to you, and how did this passion for travel really started?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I took my very first solo travel trip in May of 2017 for my 25th birthday. I had not traveled in like 4 years since then, and I really wanted to go to Italy because I was trying to teach myself Italian for a little bit in college. And I also just got to a point in my life where I was planning all of these things in my life, like these big things in my life, and none of them were working out. I was like, I need to get out of my head. I need to get out of my bubble. And I decided to take a solo trip to Italy for my birthday. And I didn't plan a single thing. And it was crazy because I felt like I already knew myself at that point. But I went and I just learned so much more about like how resourceful I am, how good I am at communicating. I learned all these new things about myself that I had never been brought to light before. And I think that's where I caught the bug. I'm always interested in learning about myself. When I was there, I stayed in Rome. I stayed at an all-female hostel, and I met amazing women there from all over the world. We all went to the Trevi Fountain together in the middle of the night, and we just, shared really personal and intimate things with each other.
We're going to bed, bitches!
One thing that struck me was the fact that you said that, previous to that, you spent 4 years without traveling. Can you tell us a bit about that and why you have stopped traveling?
So my junior year of college, I did a study abroad program. So I was really excited to live in a different country and study my favorite thing in the world, which are films, and just experience this life. And I got there and it's not that it wasn't what I was expecting. It was just so much worse. I experienced a lot of racism. First of all, just walking down the street was difficult. People would just stop and stare at me like I was a dinosaur. Like literally imagine a dinosaur just casually walking past right now. You'd be like, what the heck? Like everyone just looked at me as if they've never seen me before. I wasn't allowed on some public transportation. I wasn't allowed in some restaurants. Like waiters wouldn't serve me in some restaurants. I wasn't allowed in some grocery stores. And on top of that, people just said the rudest things to me, really. I went to this art show and I had a guy, like literally he was sitting at a table and I walked past him and he grabbed my arm and he goes, "You know why you're a gypsy? Because even the bones in your body are black." And I was like, how do you respond to that? It was really hard for me because I had grown up around all white people. And so I had experienced microaggressions my entire life, but I didn't have a strong sense of who I was as a black person, as a black woman. And so those comments and how they treated me really got to me, whereas it wasn't necessarily the same experience for some of the other black girls on the trip who grew up around other black people and had a strong sense of their identity. I was still figuring myself out. And so that's why I feel like it was even more difficult for me, but also like, my friends and I were like, hey, let's go here. We have to catch the tram. And like they would get on first and then the driver would tell me I couldn't get on. Like that kind of stuff just sucked and was annoying that I wasn't prepared for that. And I don't know if there's necessarily a way to prepare for racism, but just the fact that no one warned me, everyone was completely ignorant to it. And when I went to my program and told them like, hey, I'm being mistreated in this country, they were just like, that sucks. So that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth when it came to traveling. So because I was young and naive, I was just like, oh, well, everywhere in the world must be like this. So I was just like, okay, then I'll just stay in America. I'll just stay at home. I mean, not like it's much better here in terms of racism, but I was just like, that must be how people view Black people all over the world. So I'm just going to stay here. So it took me 4 years to get the courage to go abroad again. I had something similar happen to me when I went to Mongolia back in 2019. When I was visiting Mongolia, I felt like a lot of the microaggressions were more out of curiosity. I had more people coming up and be like, can I take a picture with you? Like, I've never seen a Black person before. And like, as annoying as that is, I was happy that it was like, okay, it's coming out of curiosity. I want to learn rather than like, I don't like this person. There's no way to prepare for racism. There's no way to build resilience against racism. It always hurts. It always hurts. It's always unfair. It always cuts deep. But I think for me personally, when it comes to traveling, I just had to continue. I just had to grow in my identity, and I'm still growing, and I'm still going to continue to grow. And that's going to be a forever process. I'm African. Like, I'm first generation. My dad's from Nigeria. My mom's from Cameroon. And I have features that are African features. And I think it's when I started embracing those and stopped trying to be like everyone else around me who didn't have these features, who didn't look like me, that really helped me grow. And I think this is just my experience. Developing a stronger sense of my identity has helped me become more resilient to attacks on anti-Blackness, like, around the world. Because if I accept myself, I shouldn't care what other people's opinions about me are.
I see a really strong female that I'm talking to right now. It's really inspiring to see that you try to look at the bright side and don't let that stop what is really important for you. What would be your advice to the community that's, perhaps never travel solo and is just trying to find their foot and build that identity? What would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole process of solo traveling in general is just that, a process. You have to build up to it. How I built up to taking my first solo travel trip was I started going to the movies by myself. I started going grocery shopping by myself. I started going to restaurants by myself. I live alone. And so I have always been very comfortable being on my own. And I think that's what it takes, is being comfortable being on your own. For my Black female solo travelers, again, I'm just giving advice based off of my experience, but if you aren't yet, trying to become more comfortable in your identity by accepting everything that you are, accepting your hair, your full lips, the size of your body, whatever that may be, accepting yourself and knowing that it doesn't matter where you go or how people perceive you, you are beautiful. And I think those two combined, and just like, a lot of patience too, can really help a lot of people with their first solo travel trip.
And what is your favorite hostel experience? Do you have any so many?
One of my best hostel experiences just across the board was Emblem Hostel in Nishishirai in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan. That was, oh my God, it was so fun. The hostel was so nice. They had an amazing breakfast. The staff was amazing. The facilities were on point. The atmosphere was everything. And we all became friends. It was like 20 of us. And literally every single day we would go and do all these things together. And it was so funny to try to wrangle everyone. But it's cool too because we're all still friends. And that was 4 years ago I went to Japan. I went in December of 2017.
For people who are hesitant of traveling solo, and particularly other Black female solo travelers, do you think that is key to stay in a hostel? Does the hostel add to the safety net when you travel solo?
1,000%. Absolutely 1,000%. I have stayed in some really nice hostels. I think there is still this perception of hostels here in the States that people think they're dirty and grimy and people will steal all your stuff. I personally have never had a bad experience in a hostel. I've never had my stuff stolen. I've never felt uncomfortable. And I've stayed in over 25 hostels around the world. I think if you want to start solo traveling, it is necessary to stay at a hostel because that's how you make friends, especially if you're by yourself. That is the surefire way to make friends, the people that are in your hostel. And it's great because it's everyone from all over the world are in this one place. Where else can you get that? I think people get scared about the shared accommodations, but any good hostel will have security lockers. They'll have security measures in place. And if you're smart too, you'll bring your own locks, you'll lock up your stuff, you'll make sure to make copies of all your things. And I have all of this advice on my TikTok page, so go check it out. But I do think it is absolutely necessary to stay in hostels. And if you're scared, just give it a try it out. And so that I think people often, what I've seen on my page from my followers, people operate in fear when it comes to traveling. And that makes me really sad, because there is such a giant world out here that you should see and you should experience. And if you let fear just overtake you, you'll never get to experience those things.
Oh, can we stop talking about like hostels and travel, please? I really just want like to go. Just seeing your posts on TikTok, just seeing the way you are able to take on the world and be so true to yourself. I think sometimes, that is super hard, especially when we experience racism. So to me, it's just like, how amazing. Like, I feel like those are the people who drive change in the world. So thank you. Like, I know that the Hostelworld team feels the same. Aww. So honestly, a big thank you to you for even taking the time to talk to us as well. What would be your message to the world if we had to wrap up this video?
Oh my gosh. That is so much pressure. What do I want to say to the world? I really just want to encourage people to give other people a chance and give this world a chance. When we are sitting at home, it's so easy to focus on all the bad things and all the negative things that are happening around us. But there are also really beautiful things that are happening around us that don't get highlighted. And they may not just, even be around us, just like in the world. And I would love for people to just give it a chance. Put your fears aside, put your worries aside, go and travel, start a conversation with a stranger, get lost, explore, find yourself, be open to these new experiences and new possibilities. And it will be so rewarding. If it's not, you'll learn a lesson at the end of the day. And who doesn't like learning? I love people so much. And again, that's my motivation for traveling. And I just wish people kind of came at traveling with the same mentality of like, I want to do this to learn about myself. I want to do this to meet people and hear interesting stories and gain new experiences. And so I would really just encourage everyone, if you've been thinking about solo traveling, stop thinking about it and just do it. Just do it. Do the research, prepare whatever you have to do, but just go and do it, because you will not regret it.